Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Sam Rhodes.
And I'm Rosalina Hearn. Here's what's coming up on the programme today.
A man has been arrested for dangerous driving in connection with the death of 3-year-old Luisa Palmisano. He appeared in Magistrates Court today.
A new environmental group has been launched in Salford Quays to try and address their ongoing litter issue. A local councillor hopes this will lead to active change.
If we can get people to get around a common interest and lobby the council to get more, so is it more bins, is it more street sweeping, is it more cleaning of the waterways?
And it's your last chance to see the planetary parade. All 7 planets in our solar system will be visible in tonight's sky, a phenomenon which won't happen again until 2040.
First tonight, a man has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. Luisa Palmisano, a 3-year-old girl, died after a van drove through a stop sign and collided with a tram.
Our reporter Seb Sargent visited the crash site earlier this afternoon to find out how this incident happened.
If I just walk you through what's happened here, as you can see, the trams do pass quite frequently, and it is understood that the van involved in the incident entered the tram and road intersection from this side of the crossing, paying no heed to the stop sign, and collided with the tram, which due to its large force and comparative size and weight to the van, caused the van to bounce onto the adjacent sidewalk here, as you can see, just outside Manchester Gallery, a very popular leisure destination, especially on a Saturday where this happened, and did collide with the young 3-year-old girl. Now, the van driver is then understood to have fled the scene, although crucially on Monday an arrest was made. A 36-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. And of course the real victim in this situation is of course the young 3-year-old girl and her parents, who described her earlier this week as sweet and kind. She was named as 3-year-old Luisa Palmisano, also known to her family as Lulu, visiting from Burnley. Her family named her in a tribute and said her absence has left a devastating void in their family, and described her as a happy and creative child who loved going to nursery every day. Investigations are still ongoing. As you can see, there are witness appeals scattered all around the site, but the roads have now reopened and tram services continue as police now work to find out just exactly what happened at the site of this tragedy. Back to Sam and Rosa.
Seb Sargent there reporting from Mosley Street.
Now Salford, it's time to clean up your act. This according to a pro-environment group, Clean Up Salford Quays.
In January, the Climate and Nature Bill was delayed to the summer, a bill directly aimed at helping communities clean up their cities and waterways. While waiting for action at the national level, Salford councillor Paul Helbron has launched the new Salford Environmental Group. But will it be enough?
Our reporter Jess Blissett has more.
100,000 bins across Salford are emptied each week, and yet litter like this remains a constant issue for locals here in Salford Quays. This has been an existing issue for the past 5 years. Why should we care now? Well, according to councillor Paul Hilbron, this is exactly why we should care.
Unfortunately, we're kind of seeing it turning away from environmental issues. I think there was a peak about 4 or 5 years ago where environment was always in the top 3 issues for people. As we see the rise of the alt-right and Trump and this, that and the other, and these conspiracy theories, that people can easily now turn away from it.
Paul Hilbron is the head of the new community project Clean Up Salford Quays that will work together to not only clean the quays but encourage others to care about the quays.
Today we're essentially launching our rebrand. Got a motion passed in February to get people around the table to come up with a long-term plan to clean up the waterways. We now need something similar for the public domain and the public areas, our footways, our walkways.
Many of Paul's concerns for the Salford Quays would have been addressed in the Climate and Nature Bill that was brought up for its second reading a month ago.
Rosalind Savage, and is a vital step towards legally binding targets to reverse nature loss by 2030.
Although it was championed by groups like 0 Hour and Greenpeace, many MPs expressed concerns about how it would seriously hurt Britain's economy.
We can't do everything. We can clean up as much rubbish as we can as a small team, but we need businesses and private owners and developers to look after their patches, and we've got a great...
Since the CAN bill was rescheduled, What are other groups in the area of central Manchester trying to do to tackle some of the issues that the CAN bill would have covered had it gone through? Climate group Green New Dale Rising are launching their Manchester branch with their chair, Louisa.
We wanted to do a bit extra the social justice side of energy transition, of climate action. So we've set up this group to see how it would go. There's pretty good turnout today. The hope is to link in a lot of other local groups, because I know there's a lot of other action going on.
So, lots of groups across Manchester are doing their bit to help the environment, but will it actually make much of a difference? Only time will tell.
Thanks, Jess. I guess we could all work a little bit harder to recycle.
Loneliness is something we have all felt, a universal normal feeling. In fact, a study from Campaign to End Loneliness found that nearly half of all people in the UK reported feeling lonely. One group is Manchester is looking to do something about it, but at a price. Our reporter Lucy Smith has been looking into Social Circle, an exclusive group in Manchester which says they help people with loneliness at £47 a month. Lucy, how does that money help you feel less lonely?
The £47 per month gets you access to all the events put on by the Social Circle. However, some of the events still cost money. For example, the cost of a meal or a ticket. Last weekend I attended one of these events, a walk at Dunham Massey. I spoke to the founder, Steve Sutherland, about the cost of his club. He brands it as a lifestyle choice and said if you can't afford to go out for a meal, you probably couldn't afford the membership. But he does say the benefits outweigh the cost.
The biggest thing that sets us apart from any other group, Lucy, any other group, is me. Yeah. That's it. It's like every business has got to have their USP. What is your USP? And I know that when people come in, that they're well looked after. I'm going to associate them with other types of professionals. They're going to feel safe, they're going to feel secure. So I'm like the mama and the papa of the group who can give all this advice if asked for and just basically be a listening mechanism.
Whilst on the walk, I spoke to William. He has been a member for 10 years. He lives alone and did so through the pandemic. Whilst apart from the group, it was a time when he felt very socially isolated.
I did get intense moments. It was weird really, because it was some days when I got those times when I really felt lonely. I think for me it's a bit of an extended family. I don't think you can monetise it really, because to me it's like gym membership. If you use those memberships, then you get value out of it, either from a mental health perspective or a well-being element. So I think it's important. I just try not to think about the money elements of it.
I also spoke to the group's newest member. She lost a lot of her friends following a divorce and sees the group as a short-term fix to expanding her network.
I just basically Googled how to meet friends in the area and found this, so I thought I'd give it a go. You don't really want to have to pay money to spend time with friends. Yeah. So, paying money to meet friends is one thing, but then once you've made those friends, to keep paying money to meet up with them when you can actually just meet up with them anyway probably doesn't really make any sense.
Steve claims this is his biggest success and also his biggest downfall. Despite this, he still has full confidence in his business.
And the reason they keep coming back is because I'm here. The benefits of getting out there, meeting people, not feeling isolated. When loneliness kicks in, then actually they've got an outlet to come and actually meet other people.
I asked Dr. Nina Goldman, a social scientist and researcher on loneliness, are groups like this really worth it?
So especially if you don't have any friends because of your life circumstances or whatever, it brings people together who you might not have met in just your everyday life. And so by having a constant exposure to the same kind of people, you can actually form friendships over time, which then would address sort of the very emotional component of loneliness. Now, because loneliness is very much about the quality of your relationships, just bringing people together might not be enough.
Thanks, Lucy.
8 years ago, Layla Jameson died shortly after her 6th birthday of the rare blood disease hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis. HLH is a life-threatening blood disease affecting 1 in every 50,000. Parents Paul and Michelle have raised over £100,000 through fundraising activities including skydives and charity balls. The biggest challenge yet to come, as Paul is set to climb Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa, over 5,800 metres above sea level. I spoke to Paul in the lead up to this attempt, when only 80% of climbers actually reach the summit.
I think it's the biggest challenge that I've done personally.
Are you worried?
No, I'm not worried. The only thing that's worrying me, everyone keeps talking about, is the altitude sickness. Because obviously, for me, everything I do for Layla, I need to complete it. So, fingers crossed, we all get to the top and back down safely.
It's just something we can do for her,
yeah.
And it's the only thing that we can do for her, really. Everest.
Well, it's already been mentioned. I think that the base camp would be maybe an idea, but doing the summit, I don't think it's. I think it's a no-no. If I'm honest.
You say that now?
I say I know, yeah, I do, but no, I can't see it.
There's always a sense of achievement, isn't there? But behind that is a sadness.
The pains never goes away.
Yeah, no.
Never goes away. Day by day, it's there. But we seem to carry on, don't we?
Surviving.
We're surviving, yeah, exactly. And then when we've done everything else, then the kids can carry on.
Yeah.
Unless you and Paul.
Now, it's 40 years since miners across the UK took to the picket line to fight against pit closures. People often forget the special friendship formed between a group of LGBT activists in London and a community of South Wales miners through solidarity organisation Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners.
An event at the People's History Museum in Manchester will celebrate this important anniversary on Thursday. Our reporter Livia Gregor has been finding out more.
40 years ago, Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners was formed by a group of activists who saw the parallels between the struggles faced by striking miners and the LGBT community. Both groups were villainised by the authorities and subject to police brutality. This amazing story was portrayed in the film Pride back in 2014. Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners raised money for mining communities and stood on picket lines as a show of solidarity, something that was later reciprocated by the miners. The People's History Museum in Manchester are holding a special event this Thursday to remember this special union between the two groups, which will include a special photo exhibition. I caught up with Jamie Starr, collections assistant at the museum, who showed me some of their favourite pieces which will be on display.
This is Jonathan and this is Mike, who will be speaking at the event. And this is Nigel Young, who was the compere for the Pits and Perverts gig. He was also Jonathan's partner for about 40 years. They're campaigning outside an Eastern Power Station during the strike. And it sort of shows that it wasn't just fundraising. They were going out and they were showing people that they were Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners on picket lines supporting the miners. So the kind of idea that it was only within the queer community that they were able to say this without people having a backlash to them, it sort of busts that wide open.
I spoke to founding members of LGSM Mike Jackson and Jonathan Blake, portrayed by Joe Gielgud and Dominic West in the film Pride, about their memories of the miners' strike and their special relationship with mining communities in South Wales.
Against the general backdrop of the miners' strike, I mean, it was. There's never been anything like it in Britain since then. It was enormous. People have described it as a civil war without guns.
I think that you see, what is just so extraordinary about this is the fact that, yes, you know, the strike was lost, but the generosity of those people in South Wales to go out of their way to say, you supported us, we will find a way to support you.
The event starts at 6 p.m. at the People's History Museum and marks a chapter in our history that should not be forgotten.
Thanks for that, Livia.
And now, exciting news for the astronomers amongst you. This week, all 7 planets in our solar system will be visible from the night sky. This phenomenon, known as a planetary parade, is rare, and we won't see anything like this until 2040. Experts advise you to look southwest and use a pair of strong binoculars. Those away from light pollution have a better chance, but as always, most important is the weather. Luckily, the forecast in Greater Manchester is clear tonight, so the planets should be visible, and the best time to see them is between 7:30 and 9 p.m.
Now on to sport. Manchester United face Ipswich Town in the Premier League tonight. Our sports correspondent Stan joins us live from outside Old Trafford.
Manchester United return here after 3 games on the road. I'm joined here with freelance journalist James Young. James, United fans back at Old Trafford. How do you think it'll go against Ipswich today?
Well, it's a pathetic fallacy, isn't it? The weather's fitting the mood outside Old Trafford at the minute, and the results haven't been good enough this season. I mean, the 15th in the Premier League. I think they should be able to have a good chance in terms of beating Ipswich, and I can't believe we're even having this conversation whether Manchester United, 20 times champions of England, have a chance at home against Ipswich, who are in the bottom 3 of the Premier League and haven't played in this division for a long time. But it's the way that things have gone this season. I mean, ultimately, the recruitment's been way off, and it has been for the last 10 years. The players United have brought in, I don't like to single out individuals, but they've just not been good enough, to be honest. I think, again, especially with the redundancies the club's been facing the last kind of couple of weeks, and how much they spent on renewing Erik ten Hag's contracts, how much they spent on players, and you're saying that they can't afford to have a canteen for staff. I think it sends out the wrong message.
They play Ipswich, and obviously Kieran McKenna was the manager. Sorry, not the manager, a coach at Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you feel that maybe they've let one go there?
Well, I think it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if maybe United had kept Carrick or McKenna, but I think the issue was because United hired Solskjaer, they had to go with someone else a bit more experienced afterwards. But I think maybe that was a sliding doors moment. You'd want to keep someone like that around because of the experience that they've got, but obviously United went in the end with Amorim.
Thank you very much. United fans will be only leaving here happy if they get the 3 points.
Thanks, Stan. I don't envy United fans tonight. It could easily be a tough game to watch. It'll be interesting to see the atmosphere inside the stadium though tonight.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Make sure to check out our socials at Quays News on Instagram and X.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week for your Quays News update.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.